All right, so seeing as how the Skywalker Saga was recently completed, I thought it would be fitting to make a video of all the Skywalker Saga ranked. It's important enough to me that I even whipped out the Porkins shirt for you all. This ranking is going to be just the Skywalker Saga, so you won't see Rogue One or Solo in the ranking. If you want to see where those land in the ranking, watch my other Star Wars ranked video that I made around May 2018 when Solo came out. I just saw Rise of Skywalker last night. I've only seen it once, and so my opinion on it may not be as fair as the other films on this list because I've seen every other film on this list at least 4 times, I would say. Initially, before I go into spoilers and the ranking, I just want to say I was disappointed with Rise of Skywalker. It was not what I wanted it to be. I just thought it was such a ridiculous plot, and I was disappointed with the way the story went. The story was utterly ridiculous. And then on top, well, you know what? Here's what I'll do. I'll wait to talk about Rise of Skywalker until I get to that actual number in the ranking. And so with that being said, starting the list off at number 9, we've got The Rise of Skywalker. Yes, it was honestly my least favorite Star Wars movie in the whole Skywalker saga. I have so many complaints about it. I even wrote a list of all the things I don't like about it. I didn't like the story. I didn't like the huge reveals of the story. And even when they did reveal things, it wasn't really a reveal. It was definitely no I'm your father type reveal. It was just, oh, this is who you are. And it's just like, oh, okay. I don't like the title of this movie either. I think it's kind of stupid. They should have called it Rise of Palpatine. And it doesn't need to be called Rise of Palpatine. No, it doesn't need to be called that. But there's Rise of Skywalker. I didn't super love that title. In my opinion, Kylo Ren's character was completely thrown away. In The Force Awakens, he's this intimidating person and he's misunderstood. He's conflicted. In this movie, he's just not even in the movie that much, and when he is in the movie, it just doesn't feel like his character at all. Also, I can't help but think that this movie just feels like a video game plot. Without going into too much detail, Rey and the rest of the gang are trapped in this tunnel type setting, and there's this spider snake thing. It has spider eyes, but it has a snake body. Star Wars creatures, you gotta love them. And she does something for that creature, and when she does that thing for the creature, the snake like slithers away and suddenly there's an opening. And it's almost like it was a boss level, like, oh, you gotta solve how you can help the monster, and then you'll have your path cleared for you. And that's exactly what it was. It was like she helped the monster slithers away, and then there's just an opening out of the tunnel, and it's like, what? Also, there's way too much fan service. I'm a fan of fan service, within reason. Avengers Endgame, them traveling back in time to past movies, I thought that was great. Rise of Skywalker, I feel like they were just throwing too much fan service at us. They're trying to make up for The Last Jedi. And yes, I'm not the biggest fan of Last Jedi, but they're trying too hard to make up for The Last Jedi. You can also just tell that there was no real roadmap for this new trilogy. It seemed like Episode 7 was its own movie, and then Episode 8 went a completely different direction, and Episode 9 was definitely trying to get back onto original plans. It wasn't in unison, and that clearly shows. I'm going to be honest, Rise of Skywalker just feels like Spider-Man 3 out of the Raimi trilogy. Not to say that I loved Force Awakens and Last Jedi, like I love Spider-Man 1 and 2, but it's a movie where I'm just disappointed. I got out of it, and I was just disappointed. It was the same way I felt when I got out of Spider-Man 3 as a 4th grader in 2007. I was even disappointed with that movie at that point. There's good things, just like there are good things with Spider-Man 3, but unfortunately, the bad outweighs the good. Coming in at number 8 is actually Episode 8, The Last Jedi. In my last ranking, I had this at number 4, but on rewatches, I've seen it at least 5 times, I would say. On rewatches, it just gets worse and worse every time I see it. My biggest problems with this movie are Luke's character. I don't like the direction his character goes in at all, for that matter. I just don't think it's in Luke's nature to give up on the Jedi, and that really bothers me about this movie. Also, I don't like Rose. I don't like that Finn is separated from Rey the whole movie. Something I liked about Force Awakens is that Finn and Rey are together, that they build that relationship. Plus, you didn't get any questions answered. That doesn't super bother me because I did like some of the mystery to The Last Jedi, but I wanted at least a few questions answered. I feel like we got nothing. At number 7, we've got The Phantom Menace. I think Darth Maul is amazing, and if it were up to me, the trilogy, the original prequel trilogy, should have focused on Darth Maul as the main villain, kind of like he's the Darth Vader of the prequel trilogy. I would have liked that a lot more, but it didn't do that. We have what we have, and it's pretty good what we have. A lot of people complain about Jar Jar Binks. I will say I don't hate him as much as everyone else does. I definitely find him annoying, but seeing as how I grew up with the movie and everything, I don't mind him too much. Pod racing is cool. The final lightsaber duel is awesome, and yeah, it's a pretty solid movie. It's just a little slow. At number 6, we have Attack of the Clones. Some pros about this movie. I really like Jango Fett. I think he's super cool. Also, we're introduced to Hayden Christensen for the first time, and I think he is a great actor in this saga, despite popular belief. It's not him that's the problem, it's the script that's the problem. People need to get that into their heads. And yes, there is a lot of cheesy dialogue in this movie, but if you can just get past that and appreciate it for another Star Wars movie, then you'll be fine. At number 5, I have Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi is an amazing ending to the original trilogy. It wraps everything up, and it's a satisfying wrap up as well. I like a lot of the scenes in this movie. I also like a lot of the planets that we're on. I like the Sarlacc pit, and I also like Endor. The Battle of Endor at the end is really cool. In my last video, I said how I don't like Ewoks. I don't want to necessarily say I don't like Ewoks. I feel like what I mean is I don't like that they're taking out clone troopers. I think that's just pretty dumb. Seeing Darth Vader versus Luke fight a little bit more is really cool. And also that send-off to Darth Vader is just so emotional because the sequel trilogy deals with Anakin, yes, but that's really Anakin's send-off right there. And when he gets to see Luke with his own eyes, that hits me. I'm getting chills just talking about it right now. That's probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole entire saga. Number 4, we have Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith definitely has the best collection of lightsaber duels. Literally the very beginning of the movie, you see Dooku, Obi-Wan, and Anakin fight. And then later in the movie, you see Obi-Wan and General Grievous fight. And then you see Yoda and Darth Sidious fight. And then you see Anakin and Obi-Wan fight. And then you see Mace Windu fight Darth Sidious. That wasn't in order. But what I'm saying is there are so many cool lightsaber fights. If you like Star Wars for the lightsaber duels, then you have to love Revenge of the Sith. It's just full of so many good ones. And also, it's heartbreaking seeing Anakin fall to the dark side. He gives an amazing performance, once again, Hayden Christensen. Also, if you are bored and you have nothing to do for 2 hours, watch Reverse of the Sith. It's on YouTube. It's the whole entire movie, Revenge of the Sith, in reverse. Very interesting experience, especially the scene where Padme gives birth to Luke and Leia because the robots are like putting the babies back in her. It's very strange to watch. Number 3 goes to Star Wars The Force Awakens. Now, I did rewatch this in preparation for The Rise of Skywalker, and I will say that I did definitely recognize a little bit more fan service than I have in the past. You can definitely tell that they're playing it more safe, that they are trying to meet the needs of the original fans from the original trilogy, and I recognize that. I think there is a little bit too much fan service. Little things like Finn finding the chess game on the Millennium Falcon, little things like that are just, you can just know that they only included it just for like all the fans out there. And that can get a little annoying to me. But at the end of the day, I love Force Awakens. I love Rey as a character. Daisy Ridley is amazing as Rey. I love the introduction of her. And I also just love where we're at. Kylo Ren is this conflicted Sith who, well, he's trying to live up to the expectations of Darth Vader. He's trying to make his family name proud as far as Vader goes. You don't know him very well. He's intimidating in this one. I was serving a mission for the LDS Church when The Force Awakens came out in theaters. Missionaries don't watch movies, and so I was about 5 months out on my mission when Force Awakens hit theaters, and missions are 2 years long. And so I actually didn't see this until 2017. And after I finally saw it, I was so satisfied. And maybe I'm a little biased towards it because I had to wait that long, but I loved it. I was not disappointed. And the final lightsaber scene in the snow, I think that's my favorite lightsaber scene of the whole saga. I just love how Kylo Ren is weak, and so he has to face them weaker. And I love how Rey is becoming in tune with the Force in this movie. That's awesome. I love how even Finn fights Kylo Ren. I love that lightsaber duel. It's very raw, and I've said that in the past, I know, but it's just so raw. In a snow setting for a lightsaber duel, it's just the coolest thing ever. At number 2, we've got Star Wars. Star Wars is a great movie. Obviously, there are just so many iconic shots from this movie that you can't help but just love. But at the end of the day, it's the one that started it all. I love so much about it. I don't know what else I can add to the table other than that. It's the beginning of everything, and I love it. It's so great. And at number 1, Empire Strikes Back, guys. Come on, I love Empire Strikes Back. I love Darth Vader versus Luke. I love all the symbolism in this movie. The whole Luke leaving early from his training and Yoda warning him that if he leaves, he will fail, and then he does fail. And then they really introduced the idea of being worthy to have the Force, which I think is really cool. The iconic scene of Yoda lifting the X-Wing out of the swamp is very emotional and spiritual almost. And then obviously the iconic Darth Vader revealing that he is Luke's father. I mean, probably the biggest twist in cinema history, But with that being said, it's also just an amazing scene. The John Williams score that plays as they're fighting is absolutely moving. That's what it is. It is just moving. I love Hoth. I love everything about this movie, and I need to watch it again now that I'm talking about it. But there you guys have it, a 23-year-old's ranking of the Skywalker Saga. Now, this is solely my opinion. I would appreciate your opinion too. I don't want any hate here, guys. There are so many crazy Star Wars fans out there that get like very hostile towards this kind of stuff. Comment your rankings below, but respect other people's opinions. Maybe on a rewatch for Rise of Skywalker, I'll like it more. Hopefully that's the case. I hope it's the case. But as of right now, outside of my first viewing, it was definitely my least favorite Star Wars movie. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I forgot to say at the beginning, but welcome to Hale, and now get out of Hale. Okay, bye-bye.